Okay, great. Let's get started here. So today what we're going to be talking about is the latest release of Symphona, version 1.1. And what we're going to cover here today in our short amount of time we have is what is actually there, actually seeing it in action, and then having some open Q&A. So throughout the session, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll leave some time at the end to go over them when we get there. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm Zane Franson. I'm the VP of Platform and Operations here at Simply Ask. We're the makers of Symphona. And if you're new to Symphona, at a high level, what it is a platform that allows you to automate both front office and back office operations leveraging AI. And so to do that, we have products like Converse, which allow you to automate conversations. And that is through AI agents, similar to chatbots, but a lot more intelligent. And they function over not only chat, like a chat widget, but also over SMS, voice, and so on. And we also have Flow, which is around process automation, where you're going to be taking step-by-step processes that you might be doing manually, or maybe you're not doing at all, and having those execute automatically. Aside from those, there are also some other products within the suite as well. Now, to jump straight into some of the key areas of improvement that have come up in this release here, one of those areas are our improved AI agents. So those are those AI agents I was just mentioning there, where they're able to provide support, maybe to help internal business users find information more quickly, or helping external users, maybe customers, find information or submit requests, or really just transfer to a live agent and get support that way too. Now, some of the key things that we've seen improved here include around the ability for these agents to, or allow you to configure these agents to do different post-action behaviors. So how these agents work is that you define the objectives of what you want them to be able to do, and then you give them actions for how they're going to fulfill that. Now you can provide more detailed configuration about what to do after those objectives have been completed. Other things around the chat widget, lots of updates there in terms of improving usability and to allow it to fit a broader range of different website stylings. We'll touch on that when we get into the demo there. Adding in new actions, so you can do more things with your agents in terms of synchronously executing workflow processes, directly creating service tickets. And then we also made it even easier to test out your agents before you put them live, maybe on a website. Now, so another area around Flow is process reporting and analytics. So within the platform, you've always had access to process history, where you can go ahead and you can look at all of your historical executions, different statuses, success, fail, whatnot. There's also APIs that you can use to pull information out of the platform and generate your reports with whatever BI tools that you use. But we also now have built-in dashboards here to surface you key information to help you more efficiently operate processes with the platform. And so these are going to be things like monitoring process execution trends, looking at the average success rates. You also have access to look at not only process executions, but fallout tickets. So you can also track your errors in terms of the backlog of errors that need to be resolved, how those ages are changing over time, the common steps that are facing errors, as well as a quick view of all of those errors as well. And the final main area of improvement is around the process editor. And really it is an overhaul. It's easier than ever before now to create complex processes. A ton of usability improvements in terms around adding grouping, searching across your processes, collapsing steps, copying, pasting hotkeys, new movement, and so on. There's also some other things around process templates, helping you, take some template processes, customize them, and bring things live faster than ever before. And then there's also some more AI features around extracting document contents that we'll touch on. So let's jump straight into the demo here. So where we're going to start off is actually in the agent editor. as there was a bunch of changes around improving these AI agents. Now, the editor here looks, for the most part, very same as what we had before, in terms of we have different objectives. For each objective, we have different actions that can be performed for that, and so on. Now, the key thing is that, as I mentioned, you can now configure how the AI agent behaves after an action has been performed. And so to do that, you just simply scroll down in your post-action behavior, and you can customize the post-action right here. Now, there is default behavior. You don't have to do this. This is, again, I'd say more advanced functionality. But if you want to customize it, in this case, maybe you want it to return this request ID in its response after that action has been executed, you could do that now. The other things too here is that you can now store parameters from processes that have executed into the agent's memory so that it can be used later in the conversation for a more engaging conversation. So again, maybe this process outputs a parameter called request ID. Well, you could store that here, and then you can give the AI a little bit of context about what that parameter actually does so that it can contextually use it in the future. We also have some new things here in terms of how you can execute processes, as I mentioned. And processes, again, I'm talking about the workflow processes that you can design in the Flow product for the back office automation. But what we've added here in terms of execution modes, before these processes were being executed asynchronously, meaning you execute it and then the AI agent says, okay, done, and then keeps going. But you can also now execute asynchronously where you want it to finish the process execution and then continue the conversation afterwards. So that might happen in a case where you want maybe the AI agent to say, oh, something went wrong. Do you want me to retry? That would be a great case for synchronous. Or maybe you want it to do some logic to get some data from some other systems and then return it back to the user after that process has finished executing. Again, another great use case for synchronous process execution. So really just enabling a broader range of use cases with these AI agents. We also have a new action type around service tickets. So before, you would have to go ahead and create a process, and then within that process have a step to create a service ticket, which works. But just to make that easier, as creating support tickets directly from these AI agents is such a common thing that people want to do. You have the ability now just to simply select create service ticket type for the action. And then you can specify all the details here in terms of the description, the type of service ticket you want it to generate, and then how you want it to fill in the other custom fields that have been set up for your service ticket type. And so all of these are actually collected generatively by the AI in the sense that we could give it a static description of what we want the description to be every time, or we can actually tell the AI how we want it to capture the service ticket description in this case, and it will ask the appropriate questions, generate a good description, and then once it's done that in real time, when you're interacting with the chatbot, it will go ahead and put that description in the service ticket. So those are some of the key changes that have been done directly in the agent editor here. Another big thing is adding in ability to easily and quickly test out your agents without having to put them on a web page. To do that, all you got to do is click on test here, and it will open up Agent Tester. You can also get to it in the side menu. And so within here, you can select different agents. We have the one I was just on. You can also select widgets. We'll just go with the default one. And we can see here that it opens up our widget and our conversation. And here we can chat back and forth with it, like I want to submit a request, and then it will go back and forth with us in terms of facilitating the conversation as the AI agent already does. Now, some other things, if we jump into some changes and enhancements to Chat Widget Editor, there's been a lot. The top looks pretty similar, but when we start getting into the appearance section, we're going to see a lot more options here. Firstly, you have a lot more flexibility in terms of how you want the styling to work, in the sense of, if you want to get rid of the subtitle text, you can. If you want to add in a title, you can. If you want to fully remove the logo now, you have that ability to do so as well. You also have the ability, though, to add in now background images for the header. So you don't just have to have plain background colors. You also have the ability to set corner roundness. As we know, not every website, that's going to be their default styling. So you can adjust those as needed. And interestingly, you can also toggle on or off these preview messages. And so these are things that would be shown, when the chat widget is open, prompting your users to go ahead and open it up. This is optional. You can turn it off if you don't actually want it, or you can have it turned on where it will send like a default message every time, or just show the first message that the AI agent generates whenever the conversation starts. So again, just making these widgets more interactive and more, I guess, appealing for your end users to actually go ahead and use to increase engagement. Now, the final things to touch on for these AI agents, when we're jumping into the chat over here, we can see that if I go ahead and refresh the page, we'll see that the conversation state is now maintained, meaning that if you're swapping between pages, the conversations are no longer lost. So you keep that history. You also have the ability now to open these conversations quickly in full screen view. Again, just improving the user experience of these chat widgets deployed on your website. Now, moving on to another area where we have significant advancements is our BOA dashboard. Now, this was not actually there in the last release. Here it is now. And within here, as I mentioned, it gives you these key statistics around the different stats, so you can better monitor your process performance and trends over time. And so up here, we just get a quick overview about how long these processes have executed for, successful rate, failed rate. We could filter this down if we wanted to, and all the stats will update accordingly. Now, you also have the ability to see down here other trends in terms of executions over time. You can change the time periods. You can filter it down for different types of processes. You can change this to be a line graph instead of bar graph, and so on. This account here has relatively limited data, so it's left at the monthly view. But if we were to go into the weekly view here, we could see by different days and times. You can see here this one at 3 o'clock on November 13th, there was an execution. So you have the ability to filter it down and also see trends and insights. Similarly, for fallouts, you can see data around the unresolved or the average fallout in your system, or the average error that's been unresolved. And you can also see the unresolved over time by various steps. And then you can see a summary here of open errors that haven't yet been resolved. So just giving you the quick glance analytics, so you can see, are you trending in the right direction in terms of resolving the open errors, or maybe are things getting worse and you need to look, more operationally how to fix that. And then also looking at, what steps are causing the most unresolved errors, so that you can maybe look at adjusting your process design accordingly to make those steps more efficient. The final thing that we'll touch on here is some advancements made within the process editor, or really an overhaul about the user interaction here. And so there's been a lot of work that's been done in terms of improving the usability. We have some things that are immediately shown, like adding groups. So you have the ability here to define groups that, you can create them in different ways. You can group things that already exist. You can create empty groups if you want, and drag things into them, maybe something like that. You also have the ability to update colors, just so maybe you're a bit more visual and you want to be able to more quickly see what's happening in your process. You have the ability to do so. The groups also give you the ability to collapse things down. So maybe you have a huge process with 100 steps, and you want to maybe not see all 100 at the same time, because there are different logical groups, then you can collapse them all down and make it as expanded or collapsed as you want. There's also been new hotkeys added as part of this. So you have the ability now to go ahead and pretty much use hotkeys for any types of actions that you want to use. It's supported both on Mac and Windows with their own respective keys, but you have the ability to, go ahead and duplicate or delete steps, or maybe undo, redo, collapse all, expand all, and so on. Now, within here as well, we have some other things, and I'll just reset the view. But we also have the ability now to go into some different movement tools. So the way that you now interact with the editor, instead of clicking and dragging everything, you now have this option to multi-select when you click and drag, allowing you to select multiple things at once. This is helpful when grouping, or maybe from copying and pasting and so on. But you also have the ability to click M or this button up here to go back to the old click and drag movement style, if that is your preferred way to move around. So you have some options there. If you're in this new mode, though, you also have the ability to maybe hold down the scroll wheel. If you want to click and drag, you can also hold down spacebar, click and drag, and you can also hold down control and zoom in and out like that as well. And you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. So lots of options, again, just making it easier to navigate within the editor, especially when you're working with these large processes. Some other key things here too, as I mentioned in passing, there is actually copy and pasting. So you do have the ability now to copy and paste steps or groups from one process to another process, or even within the same process too. So we could click here to paste here, or we could actually just click Control or Command V in order to paste it within your process here too. So again, just making it easier to work with these processes. The final thing to touch on here within the editor is around new steps. So as I mentioned before, we've added in this new extract text step using document OCR AI. So that allows you to select either parameters that you have that contain files, or maybe you upload specific files. But you can select a file, you can go ahead and put the pages you want to extract text between, and then that can be either stored directly as plain text in a parameter that you can use in later steps, or you can store it in a TXT file that maybe you want to use and store elsewhere. So it gives you that flexibility as well, so that you can easily start doing some document automation within your processes. So I guess to wrap up here, there's lots more features actually in 1.1 that I didn't cover there, but I'd say those are kind of the core 3 groups that are really enhancing both productivity as well as expanding the types of use cases that you can build within the platform. As I mentioned, process templates, that'll be live and coming soon. There are a bunch of new APIs exposed from our platform, so you can more easily push data to Symphona or get data out of Symphona with your other systems, maybe BI tools. And there's always, of course, general performance and latency improvements across the board. So what I'll do now is I'll jump into Q&A, and I'm going to open up the chat, and let's see if we have any questions in here. All right. Yeah, first question. So when is this going to be available? So these changes are already available on most environments. Within the Simply Ask self-serve Explore environments, you can go ahead and start using them today. They're all there. Within any custom client enterprise environments, those changes are being deployed as we speak, and I believe they're already in most places. Okay, I think a general question about the AI agent: is there a limit on the number of actions an AI agent can have? No, for the most part, there is not. You can define, as many actions you want for a given objective that you want your AI agent to do, and you can also define as many objectives as you'd like as well. Let's see. What else do we have here? How many groups and subgroups can I have in a flow process? Is there a limit? No. So back, I guess, looking at the process over here, you can keep creating groups inside groups inside groups inside groups if you really wanted to. So functionally, no limit. You could keep grouping it as deeply as you want. Are the dashboards real time or do they take time to refresh? Yes, those dashboards, the back office dashboards, those are real time updated. Alrighty, let's see if there are any more questions. Are these specific to any versions or plans? Nope. So all these features will be available to every Symphona user. So there's no limits in that sense. You get access to everything that you've seen here today. Alrighty. Last chance for questions. Okay, yes, I have a question here. So does it work with hybrid cloud environments, like passing files between on-prem and Google Cloud? Yes, so it does. You do have the ability to set up steps. Maybe you want to interact with maybe let's open up a step here and I can show. You have the ability, for example, to interact with file transfer. So maybe you want to use Symphona as an orchestrator between moving files from one on-prem machine to another. If you have a VPN connection, or if Symphona is deployed within your IT network, then you should be able to connect to those machines and move data between them. Similarly, I guess it really goes for any interface. If you have a VPN connection with Symphona, then you can talk to us and we can help coordinate that. Or if Symphona is deployed on your IT network, you should be able to access those other machines, whether they're on-prem or on cloud, assuming the right permissions are all there. And what's another question? What's the best way to get started adding an AI agent to my website? Good question. We actually have a step-by-step walkthrough about that on our documentation page. I think the video is about only 10 minutes long, so quite short to go through step by step. But really, the quickest way is that you can set up a Symphona AI agent there using the similar editor that I showed at the start. You can then go into settings and you can create a knowledge base under general. And all that really means is you tell Symphona what website you want to train it on. You can train it on maybe your existing website that you have. And then once you've set that all up, you can design a chat widget with that chat widget editor that I showed. And then finally, you add 2 lines of HTML code to your existing website. And it works with most custom websites or website builders, like WordPress, Wix, Webflow, whatnot. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for the questions. Those were great. To just wrap it up here, we'll have another one of these webinars, and there's lots of exciting features in the pipeline. We'll see some things in the coming months and weeks about overhauls and further enhancements to the chat widget, improvements around managing conversation history, integrated native data connectors with popular providers like Google Cloud, or Slack, and then also function integrations where maybe you want to do something more technical. You could write Node.js code, and there's a lot more that hasn't been mentioned here, but yes, a lot of excitement coming, and we're excited to be sharing that with you soon. So thank you, everyone, for attending. And this will be available and made available in a recording if you want to refer back to it in the future. So thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.